Hello, gathered friends. This is Spider, and welcome back to another review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the LEGO Bionicle Tahu and Takua, which is set number 40581. And I have been looking forward to this. So, this set originally released back in 2023. It is based on their appearance from the original Bionicle line. It takes around 28 minutes to build. And with all that out of the way, let us get into it, and we'll start things off by taking a look at the packaging. So let's get to it. Okay, so here we have the box, and I really like the way it looks because it's clearly emulating the original Tahu canister, which I shall bring in for reference. So you can see on the front here you have that same image of Tahu surfing on a lava board, which is very nice. You get that same grayish blue color for the rest of the packaging. It's just very nice little nudge and wink, you know. Nudge? Nudge. I can speak, I swear. Anywho, so we can get it into a position where the sun isn't glaring at it. You can see, you got Lego Bionicle, nice image Tahu, a bunch of words. On the back, you got Tahu with a bunch of glare in his face. You got Takua. You get this little image here, which is pretty cool. You got them all the parts separated like it would be on the instructions of the original Tahu, which is pretty cool. You got the two characters on the back there. You got the side of the box, which says Bionicle. You got the other side of the box, doesn't really say much at all. You got the bottom of the box. You got the top of the box with a little Tahu face, actual size. And that's pretty much it for that. On to the instructions. So we have the instructions with a nice little image there. Tahu and Takua on the board. You open it up, and you get this very cool looking image, which is a reference or an homage or whatever you would want to call it to the original Tahu and Jala poster, but obviously Jala is being replaced with Takua. And I've always loved this image that early Bionicle used of the half of the Howa mask that's all like rusted and dirty, and the other half is the island of Nui. It looks very cool. Very, very nice. You turn the page, and we see yet another homage to a classic Bionicle poster, as well as a lovely little message from Greg Forshley. At least I think that's how you say his name. And if you don't know who that is, he was one of the main writers for like the Bionicle comics and novels and stuff. So he's got a cool little message there if you want to pause and read it. That's pretty cool. And you have the same thing, just in other languages. Unfortunately, they did misspell his last name. That's not how it's supposed to be spelled, but what can you do? Mistakes happen. It's unfortunate, but they happen. Anywho, now we start seeing how to build the set. And it is a nice, fun little build. You got all the pieces, and the back is blank. Alrighty. With all that out of the way, now we move on to the actual set. Okay, so the first part of the set we're going to be taking a look at is Takua. And honestly, of all the Matoran that they could have chosen for this set, Takua does make the most sense. I mean, he is kinda the main character of the earlier years of Bionicle, if you think about it. Because, I mean, you play as him in the Game Boy Advance Bionicle game, you play as him in the Nui Online game, he was the main character in the very first Bionicle movie, and he plays quite a few important roles over the course of the story as well. So, yeah, good choice with Takua. Anyway, so first things first, we're going to take a look at his articulation, which he surprisingly has a decent amount of. The head is on a ball joint, so it can look all the way up, can look a decent bit down, can look all the way around. You can get some tilting action going in there. The arms can rotate all the way around, and if you extend them from the body a little bit, they can go up as well. The feet are on ball joints, so they can go that far forward, go that far back, can rotate all over the place. You do get some nice little ankle tilt in them. They do kind of bump into each other a little bit, but that's just kind of the nature of the build. So yeah, he's got a decent amount of articulation, especially in comparison to the original Matoran build, which was kind of just a solid brick and couldn't really move at all. So we'll get in a little bit closer here and take a look at the details. So we have the nice light blue Picari mask that is shown as a printed piece in the set. And yes, it is printed, it's not a sticker. So that's nice. And honestly, it does a decent job of capturing the look of Takua's mask. He has yellow eyes. He also got a little thing that's trying to emulate the brain stalk there, which that's a cool little detail. You got the nice yellow eyes. Even though he did have red eyes in the movie, but from pretty much all of his other appearances, his eyes are yellow. I don't know why they made his eyes red in the movie. That was kind of odd. Anyway, he got his tiny itty-bitty body, his long all arms, and his big old yellow feet. And that is kind of cool. They went with his classic original colors, because they did kind of change his design a little bit later, and he was just blue and red. But here they included the yellow feet. So it's neat. Yeah, the back of the figure. Overall, he's just cool. They did a very good job of capturing just the small, cute little look of the classic Matoran. And he does have a couple of accessories. First thing first, he has a little throwing disc, which the Matoran used to fight the Rahi that Makuta had infected. And you can put that in his hand. He can't throw it like the others could, obviously, but still holding it in his hand. That's pretty cool. And then he comes with my favorite accessory. He comes with a backpack. But this isn't just any backpack. This is the blue backpack for the Nui online game. That's such a cool little thing that they included. You can just pop that onto his back like that. That's so cool. I remember when I was first building, I'm like, no way, it's the backpack. That's so cool. So that's it for Takua. Overall, neat. I like. Next up. Alrighty, here we have Tahu, the Toa of Fire. And we'll take a look at his articulation as well. Just like Takua, he has a ball joint at the head, so he can look all the way up, can look a decent bit down, can look all the way around. There's some nice tilting action going on there. The shoulders are also on ball joints, and you have these bits which can move out of the way. So that's nice. The arms can move all the way around. You don't really have a true bicep joint, but you can use the ball joint to kind of, simulate one a little bit. You got the elbow, which is very squeaky. But I kind of like how squeaky it is. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Anyway, the other arm is exactly the same. You have a joint which most Bionicle figures don't have, and that is a torso joint. It's got a little ball joint here, so you can get a nice little arch back. You can get some side to side, and you can get some rotation in there. And that joint really allows for a lot of cool posing. So I really like they included that. Legs can kick very far up, can kick very far back. He can basically kick himself in the back of the head. No real thigh joint, but again, you can kind of simulate it with the ball joint, sort of, not really. You got the knee, you get a decent bend. You can break his leg, if you so wish to do that. You get it below the knee swivel, and nothing at the ankles, which is kind of odd, considering ankle joints are one of the few joints that the original Tahu actually had, and the new one doesn't. So it's kind of interesting, but you can kind of simulate it by using that joint, which looks a little awkward, but it kind of works. So yeah, articulation is surprisingly good. Like, you can get some pretty cool poses out of this guy. I also love the use of mostly ball joints, because that's kind of what Bionicle did. Most of the joints on those old figures were ball joints, so I appreciate that they decided to use these mixel joints, I think is what they are, maybe? I don't know. But they use these newer, smaller ball joints to simulate it, and it works quite nice. Anywho, now we shall focus in on the details. Whoa, that was bright. So we have Tahu's face, and you have those violet, pinkish, reddish eyes. You do have that same kind of brainstalk simulated once again. Oh yeah, I also forgot to show that you can take the mask off, and you can kind of see maybe somewhat of a face underneath. Not really. So Takua's face can come off. You got that. Anywho, so that's pretty cool. They also do have this kind of reflective lining around the eyes to kind of give them sort of glowing effect, which does not come off at all on camera. It doesn't really work. Oh, you can kind of see it now. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It works a lot better in person. You got these little black bits which are supposed to simulate the black pits on the shoulder. You know what? Let me just have him here for reference so I can show you what I'm talking about. So this is supposed to be that bit on the shoulder. You got the orange for the arm, and then you got the big old squeaky hand with the 2 fingers, the big old red hand. It's supposed to emulate that. You got the orange arm, and you got these little slope bits, supposed to be representing this kind of jagged design he had on the arm. So it's pretty cool. You have this bit, which is trying to emulate like the little gears and stuff on the chest. You have this little ball on the chest, which is actually the only piece from the original sets used here. You got that little bit. So that's cool. It's cool they use at least one piece from the old set on the new one. And the whole chest assembly just looks very cool. I really do like the little nice round slopes here. Those are words. Then you got that bottom bit there. Yeah, the orange on the legs. You got the nice red bits. And you got the feet. Big old chunky feet. Which the Toa did have some chunky feet, so that is appropriate. You got these little bits here on the back to kind of fill out the legs so they're not so flat. You got the back of the figure, and there is no build to kind of simulate the gearbox, which honestly I'm kind of okay with because it allows for a cool little function that we will talk about a bit later. But yeah, honestly, he's pretty cool. I really do like what they did with him. And of course, Toa could not be a warrior without a weapon, so let's bring in his fire sword. Which actually has a hilt this time. Ain't that neat? Yeah, so we'll clip that into his hand. And now he is ready for battle. To face off against the forces of evil. Yeah, it's a cool build. I really like it. They did a very nice job of trying to capture this, you know, but with classic Lego pieces, which I could not imagine was very easy to do. Heck, they even got these little bits here. We're trying to copy these like little pistons on the side. There's just so many cool little things that I'm sure I'm missing so many. But it's just cool. It's neat. It's fun. I like. Now we should move on to the other builds that is included in this set. Alrighty, now we come to the smallest build of the set. And if you are not familiar with Bionicle or the story, then this probably just looks like a random assemble of parts. But this is actually a pretty neat, cool little reference. This is the Nui and Makuta stones, which was used to kind of explain the history of the Bionicle world. And actually, I don't even need to explain it. I can just show you what I'm talking about, because it's in the instructions. Here. this bit right here. That is this. And even though they used very tiny, small parts, I think they did a pretty good job of capturing the look. You know, the Matanui stone is all nice and smooth, whereas the Makuta stone is jagged and rough looking. And I think using the 4 misaligned 1x1 plates really captures that look very well. So yeah, it's a cool but fun little build. The only thing I wish they would have added is maybe have a little face on the little egg piece, and then have like 2 little red eyes on one of the 1x1s. But considering this is a gift with purchase, they're not going to go that far into detail and making custom prints and whatnot. But it's still cool. I like it. Now we move on to the final part of the set. Here we have the lava board. Which is pretty cool. You got a nice little built with a bunch of tan pieces. Then you have the lava here down here, which looks very nice. Combination of a bunch of different pieces coming together. The orange, yellow, and the translucent orange just looks very cool. And plus the black bits here look very, very nice. And the use of this piece really kind of brings it all together. It looks very nice, very well put together, very elegant, if that is a word that I can use here. Screw it, I'm going to use it anyways. It looks elegant. I like it. And obviously you got these 2 little pegs here, which can plug into the bottom of Tahu's feet. So you can actually put him on top of the lava board. I will have to raise up the camera here so you can actually see what I'm doing. And then also focus. Focusing is very important. There we are. So yeah, you can have Tahu riding on the lava board. That's so cool, because not only is this a fun little build, but also acts as a display base. And Takua is not left out of this. If you just assemble his arms in the right position, you see there's this little stud on the front of his chest and the little hole on the back of Tahu's back. You can plug Takua. You gotta assemble him properly. You can plug Takua into him, or onto him. And look at that! You have him on Takua's back. Do you have Takua on Tahu's back while he's riding on the lava board? Just like they did in the movie! Although that was the Nuva Tahu and the rebuilt Takua, but I don't care, this is so cool. This is such a cool, fun display piece. I mean, just look at this. It's so cool. I think I might have put Tahu on backwards. I think it's supposed to be facing that way, but I don't care. Look at that. You can have Takua just kind of dangling on Tahu's back. This is so cool. That looks so nice. That's how I always have them displayed on my shelf. And you can also finally recreate having Tahu Mata on the lava board like you had on the original canister, because you couldn't really do that with the original Tahu. He just wasn't articulated enough. So now, after all these years, we can finally recreate it. And oh boy, does it look nice. It's just nice. It's just so nice. It's just nice, you know? It's just nice. That's pretty much how I feel about this set. It's just nice. Alrighty. So that's pretty much it for this. So now we should move on to the size comparisons. Now, to start off the size comparison as always, here it is with a LEGO minifigure. The Pack of Destruction minifigure Mothra. The Pack of Destruction minifigure Godzilla. Now onto some more relevant size comparisons. Here it is with the classic Tahu Mata. It is some of his brothers, the Onua Mata and the Bohatsu Mata. And the previous review I did had a lot of different components, so I'm just going to compare it with the most relevant part. Here he is with the 90 years of play Mini Tahu. In fact, you know what? Let me set them all up here. Let me get all 3 Tahus in here. Excuse me, let me just set you back there for a second. Here we have the 3 Tahus. Laptop up, you're looking a little sad like that. There you go, look a little better. There we have the 3 Tahus, and they do look nice together. Alright, that's just a size comparison. Now, measuring time. So we'll bring him here, set it up there. So he is a little over 5 inches. And Takua is pretty tiny, so I don't imagine him being very big. Yeah, he's almost 2.5 inches, so yeah, they're pretty small. But for Lego builds, they're pretty cool. Alrighty. Now we'll get them in a cool looking pose and we will do the final thought segment. Okay, so overall, I really like this set. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun build. They're fun to play with, and honestly, it just feels nice to have Lego acknowledge Bionicle in such a significant way. Yeah, it's just nice. And if you wanted this for yourself on eBay, it's going for around $30, which honestly is probably the cheapest this set has ever been. Just kind of funny. Yeah, because you couldn't just get this set originally. It was a bit difficult, because this was a gift with purchase set. So that means you could only get it if you spent a certain amount of money getting a certain sets. I think it was $100, and it would only count if you got sets from the Lego City, Lego 3-in-1 Creator, Lego Friends, Ninjago, Dots, Monkey Kid, or Lego Classic lines. So basically, if it was original Lego line, then that's all it would count as. And it was $100 worth of sets, which, like, that's a lot of money just to get this little guy. So, like, honestly, that was, like, kind of the only real downside with this figure, is the way you got it was not easy. So, yeah, honestly, nowadays is probably an easier, better time to get it than ever. Yeah, it's just cool. I like it. Although, apparently some people didn't. They did not like this set. They didn't like it at all, in fact. They felt it was disrespectful to the Bionicle line. Having them built not in the classic build style, but done in the system Lego bricks. Which I could kind of get where they're coming from if this was going to be the new version of Bionicle, was going to be like the new Generation 3 of Bionicle or something like that. But it's not. This is not the new way Bionicle is going to be done from now. Like, this is just a tribute to what Bionicle was, to the legacy of that line. And it was clearly done by people who really care about it, because there are too many things that only someone with know-how of Bionicle would know. I mean, just look at this. Like, if you show this to a regular Lego fan, are they gonna know what this is? No. If you show it to a Bionicle fan, like, oh yeah, I know what that is. You got the little backpack on Takua. You have Takua riding on Tahu's back. I mean, it really does feel like a love letter to Bionicle fans. If not from the Lego company, at least from the designers who made it. And it's just nice. And, yeah, I think that's kind of all I've got to say. Before I ramble on for too long, that's pretty much it. Hope y'all enjoyed. See you later. Sayonara. Bye.